Hey everybody, Jonathan here with another Vectorworks video, and today we're going to be looking at the benefits of Vectorworks Design Suite. So Vectorworks Design Suite features all of the modules of Vectorworks, Architect, Landmark, Spotlight and Fundamentals, all in one fantastic, easy to use package. The real beauty is you can just switch between the workspaces and access the different tools as required, or run the Design Suite and just have them all in one place. So if you've not used Design Suite before, you're going to want to watch this video to the end so you can see all the different benefits and decide if Vectorworks Design Suite is right for you. I've used it my whole career and I've always been so pleased that there's never been any tools or workflows that I needed. I had everything I ever needed all the time. So let's take a look at Vectorworks Design Suite. I do hope you enjoy the video, and if you are new around here, please make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. Let's jump into the video and thanks for watching. Okay everybody, so welcome. I'm going to basically do a fantastic tutorial with you with an amazing project that Vectorworks have allowed everybody to download and play around with. It's one that I've actually used before in the past. I made a twin motion video on this a few years ago, which is actually featured on the Vectorworks University site. So if you're interested, it's called Gallery 196. It's a really nice project. Let me just zoom into this wonderful rendered image. You can see it's a really cool piece of contemporary architecture, sort of gallery spaces with some nice integration of landscape, architecture and site, as well as some really cool interiors as well. Now, of course, this is what Vectorworks is famed for, not just the architectural side of the software, but the actual interiors and landscape as well, all coming together. Plus with Spotlight, obviously the lighting design. So let's jump into how you get this project. So what you're going to want to do is click onto the home screen button. Okay, and that'll bring you up to the main home screen. Once you're on here, you can actually link on, there's a little section here called sample files. So if you click on that, that will take you off to the Vectorworks University. And then basically from there, you can actually find the project here by typing in the word gallery. That's what I typed in. And basically it filtered out and found the project for me. So if you want to, you can more than welcome to download the files from here and actually have a look at the little tutorial. But let's jump into this. It's a great one for you to follow along with, and as I say, it's a very nice demonstration project for you to play with. Okay, so I'm going to hide my home screen. I'm going to go back into my actual project. Now, the first thing you'll notice when you download this actual project is that there is quite a lot of content available already. And if you go off to the sheets, there's already a bunch of different sort of sheets in here. What's nice about these is, let me come out of dark mode for a second, go back to normal drawing mode. You can see the types of drawings that you're able to generate in Vectorworks. Now, of course, everybody knows that we can generate sort of 2D floor plans, things like construction drawings as well. You know, obviously really nice sort of detailed first floor plans here with lots of kind of constructional information and things like tags and things like this. Some really, really nice building sections as well. Wonderful elevations, both in hidden line and render mode too. And of course, scheduling is one thing that Vectorworks is super strong for. We can really kind of schedule pretty much anything that we build or draw in our model as well. So actually what I wanted to do was start off with the save views. Okay, to demonstrate some of these features. So the first thing I really want to demonstrate is Vectorworks as a presentation tool. So I've got a couple of save views in here that I've created. I'll double click, and basically what Vectorworks will do is re-access that save view. Just to avoid this little distraction here, I'm going to go up to my page boundary and turn this off. By the way, I can either click on the button here, but I really like this in the new version. If you're not sure what the buttons are called, you can just pop in here, find it, you know, it'll be kind of listed alphabetically, and then basically click the buttons here. So for example, can you see dark mode there? I can go to black and white drawing, and I can go to show page boundary as well. But they're listed alphabetically, so it's a really good way for you to learn those. So that's a first nice little tip. Make sure you set your new interface for 2024 up in the right way. I'd also recommend you click here. Personally, I like the compact mode. And finally, my final little setting up bit of advice is to click here. And you don't necessarily need the text because that takes up quite a bit of space. We already have text available elsewhere in things like object info in the text menu. So I would turn that one off if I were you, and I would also turn snapping off. Remember, snapping doesn't actually get turned off, it just goes down to the bottom down here where it was in previous versions. Okay, so let's get back to our save views. So you can see I've got a couple of nice little save views here, and if I double click on those, the first thing you'll notice is that Vectorworks has this amazing, beautiful ability to transition the views. So I just wanted to touch on that to begin with and show you how to set up a brand new one. So here's a really nice little plan. Let me just click my fly round tool. It's called Shift and C is the keyboard shortcut there. Basically, let me just kind of go around to a sort of more of a rear view here. And maybe I'll zoom in a bit as well. Okay, so we're ready to set up another save view. All we need to do is right click, click new. Let's call it 1v4, just so it comes in with the same syntax here. And you'll notice there's some preferences here that I can fiddle around with. So I'm going to click OK. And actually, if I want to, a nice tip here is I can select all of the save views and edit them all at the same time. You don't have to, but I'm going to in this circumstance. So here is this nice view transition feature that Vectorworks have now added. And basically, we can go in here and we can say, let's say a 4-second transition. There's some really quite nice little modes in here like accelerate and decelerate as well. Quite like the smooth one, to be fair. So we'll click OK. And now when I go back to that nice top view, it should transition nice and slowly, you can see, as opposed to super quick. So the view transition's very, very good when you're presenting. The second amazing little tip I would just give you when you're actually presenting is sometimes when I present with clients, I want to go full screen. So what I do, I go up to Window, go to Data Palettes, or Palette Options rather, and go to Auto Hide my palettes. This is really nice because it clears the screen completely, so I'm pretty much in full screen mode. If I also want to complement that, I can go up to Auto Hide, up in the mode bar here, and I've got really as clean a screen as I could imagine. So as long as I'm not on that bar, it disappears, it will pop up as and when I need it. But what's really nice about this is I can just pop down to the side of the screen and my little panels slide out. I can access all the tools that I need to do the job. But you know, I'm doing some amazing sort of full screen capability presentation work with Vectorworks. So I really, really like that sort of feature. And just to show you, like, if I go over to this side of the screen, all the tools pop out as and when I need them. And I can basically work in this mode if I want to. Okay, so for the training, let's go back and pop those palettes back on. Let's turn the auto docking off, they'll reappear. And let's also just pop back into our compact mode. So I really hope you're enjoying the new interface of 2024. It's definitely something, it took me a few minutes to get used to, but honestly I can say I absolutely love it now. And actually all of the clients I've been working with, I'm quite surprised that all of them have been extremely receptive to the new icons and interface. Just a tiny bit of relearning on some of the new icons, but as I say, it's all very descriptive and very easy to access. But I really like the clean interface and I love the way you can scale the icon. Okay, so one of the very first things I wanted to just touch on was one of my very impressive sort of favourite new tools, and it's actually a really nice simple one to show. So I'm just going to kind of start off with this. Basically, if you go to the building shell and scroll down until you find, you'll see we've got a new railing tool. Okay, and what this used to be a railing and fence tool, and Vectorworks have now decided to split this, but they've added much more capabilities to both. So I'd like to just touch on that because I think this applies both to architects and also landscape designers as well. So if we click onto the railing tool, notice there's a bunch of different modes up here, and we could kind of draw. There's also a really cool gravity mode I'll show you in a minute, but I want to show you this mode here, the pick mode. So what this enables me to do is go into my slab and basically click to select some items. Now, one thing you do want to do is just make sure you're on the active layer. So great little tip in Vectorworks, if you right click, activate layer or activate class, that will take you to the layer the object is on. So now when I click the railing tool, hopefully it will kind of start to pick up. And I'm just holding shift down, seeing if I can carefully select those three edges, and when I'm ready I just click the green tick to apply. And you can see Vectorworks has now made a pretty cool railing fence around the side. Now there's a couple of really nice options in here. If I want to, I can just go in and say I want a 50 millimeters. I'm going to type in because I'm in the UK. So just to set that back a bit onto the slab as it were. What I really like though is the fact I can go style, replace. Okay, and this is one of the real benefits of Vectorworks being parametric in its nature, in that you have all these preset parameters that you can just select. And basically, let's go for a nice glass railing and click OK. And let Vectorworks do all the hard work in terms of working out, how the geometry needs to work in order to replace itself there. Obviously, you can edit all the materials and the textures as well. So the railing fence tool, really, really flexible and really impressive. Now, I also wanted to show you something else on the stair and railing fence option here as well. So in order to demonstrate this, I think what I'm going to do is just go down to get my stair. Okay, and let's just pretend there was going to be a bit of a stair somewhere in this project. Not really sure where to put it. Let's go over to this area here. That's a reasonable spot. And basically I can go into the settings for my stair, and there's a huge array of things that I can actually tailor and change in this dialog if I want to. Just let that load. You can see the stair tool is another one of these tools that in Vectorworks it's almost like a program in itself. So when you're doing stairs and steps, this is actually really, really cool. So I'm going to just pop in and keep it really nice and simple. Just going to go for a concrete stair. Going to go to geometry. All of that I'm happy with right now. And I'm basically going to just turn the railings off. So if I want to turn off the guardrails, I can do it here. I'll also be able to do it in the object info afterwards as well. But let's just go for it. I'm going to basically click and just draw a stair in my model, just on that surface. Okay, so let's move that to a slightly more sensible position, and let's rotate it around. Command L, a couple of rotations there. We'll just sort of have this stair. I'm not sure where it's actually going to right now, but the principle is I just want to show you that if we want to put some railings on here, rather than actually showing them as part of the stair, I mean, the good thing about that is they are part of the stair. If you move it, they will move. But if I want more flexibility, I can now go into my railing tool, and you'll notice there's a really nice mode here where we can actually just pick and hold shift down, click the other edge as well, and I can do both edges or just one single edge. And basically look at that, it's absolutely amazing. I can now create really, really complex fences as well on railings for my stairs. So once again, let's just replace that with a nice different style. Then we'll just go for this nice sort of simple kind of guardrail style. And you know, that would have taken ages to model. So it looks really cool. There's a bit of refinement I could do in terms of positioning of the posts, but honestly, that looks fine. Okay, so there's another really quick mode I just want to show you in the new railing tool, and this is the gravity mode, which is pretty mind-blowing. So for this, I'm actually going to turn to top plan. Going to go to my railing tool, and this time I'm going to go to this button here, the gravity mode. Okay, so what I can now do is I don't need to select a slab or anything like that. I can basically just draw. Okay, so let's do another one here. Let's just snap it to this line here, and I'll just click Z to get my super zoom. Off we go. Let's just kind of go round there, all the way around that little area there, and double click. Okay, you see, I'm basically just drafting in top plan really, and let's just snap to this point here. Again, let's click Z if you want to go in to get super precise, and we'll just scroll out all the way down to this end point. Okay, so that's easy. I've been drafting in 2D, but what's Vectorworks actually done for me? Well, you can see it's actually created some railings, and actually here it was pretty nice. It's actually kind of gravitated to this element here. That may not be what I wanted, and I could always double click and edit it afterwards. And you can see I could just pull this point down if I wanted to. But actually, that looks pretty good. So, you know, really, really nice aspect of Vectorworks, this ability to just change the different sort of railings with a single click. Can't resist just doing that one more time. Let's go replace. And I've actually made quite a nice library of my own that I'm kind of working with here. Let's go for this one with a bit of kind of solid panel. I guess also it'd be quite nice if I wanted to make those glazed. Actually, they are quite nice and glazed already. But all I would do is essentially go into edit the settings, go to the attributes, and just find the sort of 3D fill panel here, and either, you know, use a material or just use a nice sort of texture. So I might just go in and use a slightly different texture here. Let's type in glass and click OK. We'll go for a nice sort of glazed blue kind of glassy texture. So really just trying to show you that, you know, the railing fence tool, unbelievable, the flexibility for creating all sorts of really cool railings and things for your projects, either from the slabs or just in the model itself using the gravity mode. Okay, so here's a little separate file that I often do when I'm messing around and sort of experimenting and learning how to kind of operate these things. And this is one that I've created for the slabs and the railing fence and some of the stairs as well. You can see I've also got some nice little ramps in here. So really, if you also want to experiment, there's a nice simple stair. And this actually does really, really nice simplistic stairs. The beauty of this is, you know, you can just pop in and say, let's say I want a 3 meter floor height, and it basically will kind of just like, you know, add in more treads and so on. And if I want to just change the width, that's super easy. I can just go in, let's make that a bit less wide, 1500 for example. So very, very parametric. Now, I just want to show you one really cool thing on this one. So if I go to the railing and go to the gravity mode one more time, click all the way, and let's do the same on this side. You know, even though these stairs are quite complicated, the gravity mode for the railing fence works extremely well. Okay, finally, freeform modelling. Now, this is something that, you know, Vectorworks is very, very strong at. So if there are sort of things like curved steps or swept steps that you need to create, don't forget, this is easy to do. All you need to do is do some basic freeform modelling. Just quickly, let me just show you how this would work. If you did want to create some freeform steps, I'm going to click number 3 to get my arc tool. Basically, I'm going to make sure I'm drawing on this plane, and let's just do a nice little kind of curve there. All I'm going to do now is select these elements here and right click to add them. Okay, and let's just make sure I deselect that one first. That's why they didn't add. Okay, so that's good, they're one form. Then we just select them both and we go to model menu, and it's called extrude along a path. Just make sure that when you select the path, you switch across to the actual path. Sometimes Vectorworks gets it sort of the opposite way around. And there we go. So if I just change the view slightly and move those up, you can see some really nice steps, and we'll get some concrete material on there. So very easy to do all of these things, and there's lots of other refinements I could make as well. Good, so I hope you've enjoyed that sort of freeform example of modelling steps, as well as the parametric stairs and the railing tool. Okay, so here's a few examples of just a few of the railing fences, but as I say, there's pretty unlimited the amount of things that you can make. And I really like doing this for my libraries. As I say, I sell lots of libraries on my website. Please take a look at those, where I basically kind of like visually be able to go in and choose them and copy and paste them. So basically, this is the new fence tool that Vectorworks have introduced. Okay, so it's really, really good for landscape designers and obviously anyone doing site like architecture as well. So there's a couple of sort of layers in my file, and I've been experimenting, you can see, just sort of playing around, a great way to learn, as I say. And then when you know you need something, you know, if there's a particular type of fence you need, you can zoom in and specify, and you can also copy and paste. So I really like this one, so let's actually copy that one, and let's go and see if we can use it into my project. So what I'm going to do is basically just paste that in just for a second, and that's enough to bring that particular resource in. And you'll see that basically we can use the fence tool. So just go on to site planning, go to fence, okay, and over here I basically can choose the style now. So not only do I have access to all of those styles, if I go to this one, I'll have the access to the style that I've just copied in as well. And let's click OK, and basically watch what happens. So really, really nice there. So let's say we've got a fence kind of winding its way down across the site, down to that boundary there. Okay, and there we go. You can see I've now managed to turn on the fences, and here was one that I was playing with earlier. So what's really nice about this is you can see that it's actually automatically fitted to the site. So with the contours of the site sloping down. So really, really clever, and it's got a nice little kind of bit of detail for the base in there as well. So yeah, really, really cool. So I can go through, replace. Now I can select my library of fences, and if there's a different one that I would like to try, let's try this one. Good old picket fence. I know you love these in the US. Absolutely. So let's click. Not really the appropriate thing for this particular project, but just shows you how easy those kind of things are now in Vectorworks. So for landscape and site design, the fence tool and also the separate railing tool. There's my other one, look, in all its detail, but already fitted to the site automatically. So fantastic. So in the example file, if you do go to the save views, as I say, you will see a number of really nice little kind of save views here that you can play with. For example, I just want to show you this one. This is the wall wrapping, and basically this little element here is a wall. If I look at it in top plan, you'll see that it has this amazing ability to have things like splayed reveals and wraps now. So all of this is actually really straightforward to do these days. You just need to go and edit the style of the wall and then click wall closure inserts. And then in here, you have the ability to taper or round off these inserts as you need to. So I really, really like this aspect, and you can see that this one's obviously got a wall closure applied to it already. So let's come out and it will show you the preview as well. So let's click OK. In fact, I'll cancel that one, and let's sort of have a look at that in 3D detail. And you can sort of see these nice sort of splays coming into the wall there. Okay, fantastic. Now another thing I just wanted to show you was the spot elevations. So this is a nice little example where I can get my elevation benchmark tool, and basically up in the settings you can see there's lots of different settings here. Basically I'm going to go for this one though, setting it to the design layer Z value, and all I need to do using my automatic plane is click to actually assign some levels to these different areas on the design layer. So what a fantastic tool. You know, this means that you can kind of really quickly work out things as you're designing, including things like top of wall heights and finished floor heights and things like that as well. So very good, the elevation benchmark. Of course that works in Sheets beautifully as well, but if you do want to use it in the design layer, it's excellent. Okay, so the next topic I want to talk about is how to add really nice trees and plants and things like this to your designs. Now, of course, Vectorworks is really strong for this. We've got the Vectorworks Landmark version, and I can just switch over to that Landmark workspace at any time, which I've just done from the Architect. Design Suite, as I say, has all of the tools, and that's the absolute beauty of having Design Suite, which is what I've always had during my career. So if I go to the Landmark palette, you'll see there's a couple of areas I want to show you. Firstly, we've got the sort of traditional planting tools, you know, the plants, the hedges and the landscape areas. So those are great, but I'm not going to go into that too much in this video. That's a very detailed topic and we could spend a lot of time on the plant tool. I just want to touch on the more visual aspects. So there's three tools that you're going to see here. We've got the Laubwerk plant tool, we've got the Rendermail plant tool, and also the Foliage tool. But before I show you those, let me just touch on this. So if we go to Command R, bring up our resources and type in the word tree, for example, basically you're going to find absolutely hundreds of trees. Now here's a really nice little library that I've already identified in my resources, and I can see it down here by right clicking. But if I did want to, I could scroll through these other libraries of trees and access all of those. So there's absolutely hundreds of really nice deciduous and shrubs and all sorts of things that you can use. Let's go for that one that I was on before. Now I've already downloaded this one, so all I need to do now is double click the symbol to insert. So double click and basically just start placing a few of these where I want them. And the great thing is, because Vectorworks is sort of intelligent, these will snap to the various sort of landscape heights of the site, no problem. Just going to get a little variety of these trees. There's a little cluster down here. You can see they don't look very good in top plan because they're cross planes, but saying that, they are symbols. So if you do want to, you can actually edit the symbol and insert a really nice sort of top plan view. So if I was to identify the top plan view of this, that would work really well. Let's see if I can do this. Let's type in Americana. Okay, let's see, there we go. And I think, yeah, actually, you know, there is the more or less the top plan view. So let me just drag one of those in. Again, you sometimes have to wait for a little delay while it actually downloads the file. And this is it just connecting to the cloud so that it's actually kind of on the internet, as it were. And you'll notice if I double click into the symbol, I can actually extract the image. Okay, and so I don't really need the 2D symbol, and we're back out. And basically when I copy and paste in that 2D part into my tree and just placed it into the right point, that will be enough basically now in my top plan view, when I'm in this view, to sort of see those trees in 2D. So you can see I've got them in 3D and 2D at the same time as well. And obviously you can always hide the 2D aspect if you want to in a different class. So it's really just a way to sort of show you how you can really add a lot of detail of trees into your model. Okay, great. So the next one I want to show you is the Rendermail plant. Now this is one that's been around for a little while, but I still really like this one. If you go up to the top, you'll see lots of different options for different types of plants. Well, not many, but a few good ones. So let's go to a maple, 16 meter. And I think what I'm going to do is just kind of plot that onto this corner here. And you'll see that it adds pretty rapidly. Now the detail here is superb. Look at the detail in this plant. It's absolutely amazing. There's a lot of detail. The other aspect that's really nice here is the fact you can just change the season. So if I go to that autumnal feel, like the rest of the image, you know, very easy to do. I can also change the size. So if you want 3D trees and things, these work great. And what's really nice about these is they cast gorgeous shadows because they're proper 3D models. And of course they look fantastic in top plan as well. So we can just duplicate a bunch of those down our sort of side here, and we've got these really nice sort of 3D trees along that boundary. Okay, so those are two really, really cool types of plants. The third one I just want to talk about is the Laubwerk plant. And this is fairly new to Vectorworks in the last couple of years. So if you want to access this one, you go to your landscape visualization palette, click on the Laubwerk tool. I think even Architect has a few of these, but you will notice that if I click, I've got absolutely hundreds. And that's because Design Suite and Landmark have access to even more of these. So if you do want to select them, you can just basically move through and you see, have a little scroll through some of those in the web browser and download them. Now they take a few seconds to download, but what's really nice about these is you can have them looking quite simplistically in 2D and very, very detailed in 3D. All of them have different settings for seasons as well, including mid-season, but also lots of nice aspects for controlling the level of detail. So again, we can even go to that sort of cross-plane symbol type approach that you saw a minute ago. Okay, really, really simplistic. Or we can have those sort of fully detailed sort of, trees which look absolutely fantastic in your 3Ds as well. Okay, so really just touching on how amazing Vectorworks is for planting, garden plans, landscape design, site modelling, but also adding trees and foliage and things like that to your designs as well, without really needing any other software at all. Okay, so we've had a look at how Vectorworks Design Suite is really, really wonderful for the architectural side of your modelling, as well as the landscape and the site design. Now, the last aspect of this, of course, is I want to touch on the Spotlight workspace. So I've already switched over to that particular workspace, and basically you'll see that there's three palettes here, one for lighting, so just drag that one off if I want to, one for rigging if you like, and I can drag that one off as well, and also the event design. Now, if you do want to, you can actually dock these palettes and snap them to each other, so they kind of fit rather nicely in one big sort of oversized palette that you can expand out as well. So that's a very nice little tip. And by the way, you can also view those as icons and text in each sort of section. So when you're learning, this is really, really excellent, and it just helps you kind of visualize the names of those tools. Okay, fantastic. So I've got a nice little interface here, so let's go for some Spotlight stuff. The very first thing I'm going to do is click my visibility tool, and what I'm going to enable me to do is turn off the entire landscape layer, all of these trees. Currently visible. With a single click, that will make them all invisible. Now I'm also going to go onto my classes, I love this tool, and click to turn off the particular class. Okay, so here is a little space that I can make some spotlighty event design work in. To right click, basically gives me the option to do lots of things, including activate layer. And now that means if I go to my layers, I can simply turn that just to the active layer here, just so I can kind of focus on what I'm working on without the other distractions. Okay, so here I am, ready to do a bit more work on my space. So the first thing I'm going to do is just create a deck. So I'm really easy to do. I'm just going to basically create a stage deck here. And all I need to do is go to the event design, create stage. And basically Vectorworks will basically give me the options with different size stage decks for me to click OK, and it will basically automate those straight away for me. And the great thing is, because Vectorworks is so parametric in nature, I can just pop in and basically choose different options for those standardized stage decks. That's pretty cool. Okay, next up we're going to get some simple stairs going up. So I can either go to event design, create stair. If I prefer, I can go down to create steps. Stage steps. So let's have a couple of stage steps here. Double click those and you can see immediately they look pretty good. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, let's also go to the create ramp. Okay, so the ramp would be more of a kind of like ramped access if needed. Okay, for whatever reason. We can also go to a couple of other options. Before I do that, let's go create lectern. Okay, I can choose a different style of lectern. I think there's a few different styles in here. Let's go for that one there. We'll click OK, and let's just put that in the middle of our stage. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, I will just need to, of course, move that up to the correct height. So I'm going to hold my B key down and just pop that up. That's the ramp there. So let's just move that back down again. So you can see this becomes really, really quite rapid in terms of sort of setting this up. I'm now going to go to soft goods. Okay, and I really like the soft goods tool, strangely. It's actually got some really nice sort of things like curtains and things in, and there's a whole bunch of different sort of parametric drapes. So let's just double click on this one, and let's say that this is the back of the stage. So I'm going to have a nice big drape all the way across there. Let's have a quick look how that looks in 3D, and it should look pretty cool. I mean, that does look amazing already. It's a bit big, but that's okay. All of that can be adjusted by clicking Unstyle, and then of course I can just adjust the height there. Let's make it 10 feet high. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And we'll just move that up on top of our stage deck there. So we've got our curtains there. Okay, so it's coming together quite rapidly. Now I definitely need a large video screen, okay, or a television. So if I go to a video screen, basically this will allow me to literally click and draw from this mode in front, and let's just pop that into just the front of those curtains there. Click OK, and you should see, hopefully again, this is reflected in 3D. Now just watch the height. So again, I've just got to kind of push that up to the correct height, and then really cool, you know, if you just want to do things like change the image, basically you just go down into the settings. Here we go, edit screen image, and I'm just going to load in a nice sort of texture. So let's go for image, see if I can find something cool. Not quite sure what this is, but let's go for it. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. So, you know, really easy to swap out the projected images on that projector as well. And that's a really another nice little aspect. So I think we'll move my stage lectern over there. Perhaps we'll have another one over that side. That looks pretty cool. And we'll get rid of the ramp actually. Okay, good. Right, we're well on the way. So now I'm actually going to go and create some seating. Now what you can do is set the focal point. Okay, so let's click and see if we've got our seats looking the right way. So you can see I've got this little arrow, and that means that I can basically just set them looking 90 degrees forward. I'm just trying to get them completely straight here. I don't think I can quite do that. There we go. Okay, now in Vectorworks, what's really nice about this, you can go into different styles of seating, and you can see there's lots and lots of different sort of preset seating arrangements, including things like tables and chairs, and so on as well. Let's just go for space seating. I think we'll go for, let's try, sure which one to try really. Yeah, let's go for this one. Okay, so basically what that will do is these are just diagrammatic, and if you click here, you'll see actual seats come in. So with a single click, I've basically set up, hopefully, a really nice little kind of array of seats in the model, and basically you can swap those out for different symbols, no problem. So if you do want to go into the settings and just try different ones, you can. Okay, let's try something else. More generous arrangement, slightly bigger spacing. And this one you'll notice is actually kind of raked. Okay, so if I do want to, I can just click Unstyle. That means that I can now go down into my settings, and somewhere in here I'll be able to adjust that rise. There we go. I can just make that 0 again, just to flatten those back down. So lots of options for that indeed, in terms of having nice sort of seating calculations as well. So our little scene is coming together quite nicely. There's a couple of other things I want to show you quite quickly, which I really like. I really like this rope and stanchion. I think this is very cool. So immediately I can just basically kind of draw, and let's kind of put a rope and stanchion down there. And you'll see how this works. This is sort of, you know, Oscars, Hollywood type thing, just to stop people walking down there. Some really nice little aspects to this, in that you can kind of play around with the different aspects. I quite like this one, the rope. And there we go, you know, welcome to the Oscars. So if you do want to, just remember, if you go into your shaded options, turn up the quality to high if these look a bit less curvy than mine do. Okay, so that's quite important. But all of this is lovely and really nice and parametric. Okay, great. We've got also speakers. So a speaker array and also the speaker tool. Now the nice thing with the speaker tool is you have a catalogue, and you can basically go into the catalogue and select different speakers, which you're, you know, obviously if you're in industry, you'll know. So if I go through to these Marshall speakers and click, you can see I can easily add one of those. Let's just add a couple of those and have another one that side. I can add them in 2D, by the way, or if I prefer, I can sort of have them up on the stage deck in 3D as well. Okay. That's really cool, and all of these can be swapped out for different types of speakers with a couple of clicks, and you can see really easy to do. Okay, brilliant. What else have we got that we need to look at? I think the video camera is the final thing. So the good thing about the video camera is you can actually place it in a real physical position. Okay, and then what it allows you to do is aim the camera. Okay, so I can aim that to the stage. Okay, and then when I click onto the video camera, if I click activate the camera, I'll actually get that particular view. And basically you can sort of see exactly the view inside the camera. Now I'm obviously quite close up, so I've got a bit of distortion right now, but that is a very cool tool. And there's lots of things you can do, like show the cone of the lens and the focal length and all of those kind of things too. So definitely a really good aspect to Spotlight. There's one final thing I want to do just to finish this design off, and it's basically put some trusses in. So I'm going to go down to my truss section. I'm just going to go for a regular straight truss, basically click and draw that all the way across. I've got a feeling that'll be at the wrong height, of course. So I know that I need to put that up at about 11 feet high for it to fit into the project. So now I've got my truss, I could obviously, you know, copy a couple of those just so I've got something to hang my curtains off. So our space is looking pretty good. We've got quite a bit of detail added in no time at all. Last thing I want to do is just get a couple of views out. So I'm actually going to go for the regular Renderworks camera because I find this a little bit easier to control. So we do have this wonderful video camera, and that would be definitely something you should learn about if you're in the film industry. The regular camera is super nice and easy. So basically I can just click and set up a couple of views from a couple of key points. Let's have 3 cameras there. Let's have another one over here. In order to get the camera view, I just double click to activate it. Then I can render up. Of course, everything is, let's close this little palette down now for a minute. Everything is basically in isolation. So all I need to do is now turn my other layers back on. Okay, so let's go for it. So show snap modify others, put all those other layers on. Now I would expect it to go a bit darker, absolutely, because there's not much lighting in the space. But the fact is, I've actually got a really nice sort of little visual, and if I get my walk through tool, I can basically move around. So let's just sort of pan back a bit, just to get a bit of an idea of that space that we've created in no time at all. So what do you think? I think that looks pretty amazing. Apart from a bit of lighting and a bit of other aspects, I can now set those views up. So in fact, if I do want to drop a couple of lights in, probably the easiest way is just a point light. So I'm going to basically just drop one of those into my space. In fact, let's get my light bulb rather. Let's just drop one in and basically click OK. Whether that will snap, yeah, that's good. That's looking good. So I can now move that up about, say, I don't know, 6 feet into the middle of the space. And if I do want to, I can put some nice soft shadows on, and I could even sort of give it a little bit of coloration as well. Let's choose a nice sort of kind of pinky colour just to get a little bit of tone there. I could even brighten it up a bit as well, let's say 200%, just to kind of get a little bit of intense lighting. So there's a lot of capabilities of things that you can do with both the lighting, and obviously we've got all the, you know, the lighting devices and things like spotlights as well. But I like the look of this view, so let's go for it. Let's go for another save view, new. Let's call this, let's call it 1v5. I'm now going to move forward a bit here. Let's kind of get my walkthrough tool, and I'm going to basically go up a bit with my camera, just up a bit higher so I can look down on my stage and spin it around maybe a little bit, just sort of frame up that view rather nicely to a point I'm happy with. Let's go new, let's do 1v6. So again, once again, if I want to animate between those views, you can see I get these great big jumps. But if I basically select them both, click edit, I can now put in that lovely view transition, and let's just go for a nice 4-second transition, and we'll do accelerate this time. So when I click on view 5, it goes back, you can see it slowly accelerates a bit faster, and then same again, starts off slow and then gets a bit quicker as we go. So quite cinematic. So we've added in no time at all these amazing sort of levels of detail into our design. And if we did want to finish it off with some people, this would be super easy. Just go in, type in people. And there will be lots and lots of different types of people, including a lots of, let's have a look at this lady in the red dress. Let's say we go, double click. And you'll notice that these are image props. So basically they should snap automatically to the plane. that you want them to. Okay, let's add someone else presenting. So back into people again. Let's just add this chap here. There we go, there's Ben. And Command R, and let's snap him over there. So if you really want to kind of bring the, bring the aspect to life, you can do quite straightforwardly. Well everybody, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been an awful lot of fun to make, and all these abilities to basically go through and access lots of different tools and lots of different workflows. So thanks for watching everybody, and if you do get a chance to try Vectorworks Designer, give it a try in a trial. We've got an amazing deal at the moment for Cyber Monday with it on 50% half price, which makes it irresistible, even less than fundamentals. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Make sure you reach out to me if I can help you with any advice on software or teaching or training, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care everybody, and see you soon. Bye bye.